On the Chris Nichols appointment, how long has that been in the works?
We've discussed, I would say, the reorganization of this office, certainly for several months at least. Chris Nichols, of course, came to our attention. I think you're aware of that. He was one of the 2 finalists for the county administrator's job, and we were very impressed by his credentials and demeanor and experience and so forth. So he was a person that we found to be, a very potentially attractive employee for this office. But just what I would say, we've actually worked on a reorganization of this office for, I would say, 2 to 3 months since Brand has been here.
But these have all been internal discussions?
Yeah, the vacancy with the contract administration's position has been, known since December. And looking at all the different configurations that could possibly take, the question is it more efficient to fill that spot, or could we look at our current operations and combine positions and kind of reconfigure? And that's, at the end of the day, what looked like to be the best way to configure things. So rather than hiring an outside person to take over the contracts, Rick's been doing such an admirable job with that, with his 5 hats that he's wearing, that just seemed like an organic kind of thing to happen.
On here, on your chart, it's listed as manager of properties and contracts?
Right.
That's
Okay.
correct.
That would be right. That basically is the combining of the vacant contracts administration position, which has been open since Marilyn Hoover left this office, and the properties management that Rick is currently doing, and managing, combining those 2 positions together, leaving really open the position of budget director. And this really is redefining the position of budget director to one that includes more supervisory abilities and duties as well.
So this wasn't advertised to the public?
No, this is a refilling of a position that is currently open and actually a little bit redefined. But this board had certainly a lot of experience in conversations with Chris actually during the process that filled.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you make it available to the general public?
Well, I think Chris is the general public. As part of a very large net that was cast.
And I would just say that when we interviewed
yeah.
both Brant and Chris at that time, and I'm not going to be shy about it, I mean, I said I wish we had had the best of both worlds and combine them, because they both just brought such strengths to what we needed. And as we've said from the day that we've come in, we're changing the way that we do business in this office. And quite frankly, when you find the right person and he's been through the interview, when Brant came to us individually and said, I'm thinking about a reorganization, I want to look at something different in the office, to me, he was the right guy at the right time.
But how would you know that there's not someone more suited that's out there you just don't even know about without advertising it to the public? I mean, these are taxpayer-supported positions. This is not a private corporation.
That is a fair question. I think that you can raise the question, and you're entitled to raise that question. I think that we're comfortable with the selection of Chris Nichols based upon the interviews that we did. And we did 2 interviews of him and 2 interviews of Brant, by the way, because they were so close with regard to the county administrator's position. Chris Nichols' background and really realistically his primary strength with regard to that position, and it was truly a very, very close call with regard to the hiring process associated with that, was on the financial side of this, given his own background and so forth. And we were just very, very comfortable that this was the guy that was the right guy for this office, both by personality and by background and on the financial end of this thing. And for us to go through the process of advertising and putting it out to bid would have resulted in Chris Nichols getting this job anyways. That's how comfortable we were with him.
How can you say that?
I can say that because he was the guy. He was the guy when you interviewed him.
So is this an articulation of a new policy by the commissioners that when you've interviewed somebody for one job, if you make a determination that they're suited for another job opening, that it won't necessarily be put out there for public view and application? Is that what we're talking
Well,
about?
it's not an articulation of that policy, because if you look at the table of organization, you'll find that there are just a handful of positions available in this office. There are only 2 essentially top-level administrative positions in this office, by the way, that would be applicable to, and there are no other vacancies, and we have not advertised for other ones. Chief building official, for example, when we get to that point, we have advertised for that, because it's totally unrelated to this area. If we go to human resources, we would intend to advertise for that, for example, if we get to that point. Because again, it's totally unrelated to what we have done. But Mr. Nichols' background, resume, and otherwise, and you can have a copy of his resume because it's available on the public record, you may already have that. He was a guy that we would have liked to hire, and we've been hiring 2 county administrators. So he's a good guy there, and he's the guy that we think is going to be the right person for this position.
You know, Martin, and it was within a tight time frame here. It's not like we interviewed him, you know, a year ago. He's still fresh in our mind. We liked him, and again, I will not apologize for making a decision. I am making my decisions based on the best interest of this county and to advance this county and to get us to a position where we can oversee and dig into things that probably have been neglected for years, and we're moving this office ahead. And I will stand by my selection of Chris Nichols.